The Galactic Council chamber stretched wider than any human cathedral. It was a dome of crystal and silver, filled with the banners of 100 alien empires. Rows of towering delegates sat in rising tiers, their scales, fur, and armor shining under the twin suns above. At the center floor, one small figure stood, a human girl. She looked young compared to the alien giants around her. Her dark uniform was plain, her boots polished, her eyes steady. She stood straight while alien voices thundered down at her like waves of ridicule. The laughter began as a whisper. Then it grew. Humanity, sneered a reptilian delegate with armor like obsidian plates. What can a fragile world of prey teach the galaxy? Another, with insect mandibles clicking, leaned forward. Is this a joke? A child standing before us? Are humans so desperate to feel important? The chamber roared with laughter. Some slammed their claws on the rails, others hissed and whistled, mocking her every second. She did not flinch. Her name was Lyra Hale, and she did not come here to beg. When the laughter reached its loudest, she finally spoke. Her voice was calm, but it cut through the chamber like a blade. You think humanity is weak? You think we are small? Her words were swallowed by more laughter. Because you are small. One alien shouted. Your fleets are scraps, your soldiers children with sticks. You should be grateful we allow you to live at all. Lyra's eyes narrowed, but her voice stayed even. Then tell me this. If humanity is so weak, she paused, her gaze sharp. Why does the predator obey my voice? The chamber fell into silence. The word hung in the air like thunder. Predator. Every alien present had heard the stories. The Predator was no simple warship. It was a myth, a legend whispered in military academies and dark taverns across the stars. A warship so massive, so cruel, it could hunt whole fleets like prey. Some said it was alive. Some said it had destroyed entire civilizations. Most dismissed it as nothing more than a tale to frighten cadets. Now, human girl stood before them claiming command of it. Silence gave way to nervous laughter. The insect delegate snapped his mandibles, grinning. A ghost story, that's all. The predator has been dead for centuries. Another spat. A child dares speak of things she cannot understand. Admiral Velox of the Avar Dominion rose from his seat. His towering body shimmered with golden scales. His voice was low, dangerous. Human, you speak of legends. If you claim this predator answers to you, then summon it. Let us all see. The chamber echoed with agreement. Delegates leaned forward, sneering, eager to watch her fail. Lyra raised her wrist. A small, ancient-looking device glowed faintly against her skin. She pressed her thumb against it. Nothing happened. The chamber exploded with laughter. The sound was deafening, claws pounding the rails, voices mocking. See, empty words. Humanity lies as always. Throw her out. Lyra's face did not change. She lowered her wrist slightly, then whispered into the silence of her own heart. Predator. Wake. The chamber lights flickered. The laughter faltered. The crystal walls trembled. A deep vibration rolled through the floor, steady and slow, like the heartbeat of something ancient. Alarms rang out. Voices screamed over Cum's unidentified mass detected at system edge. Size too large to classify? It's moving closer fast. The delegates froze. All eyes turned to the holoscreens above, where stars filled the void. At first, there was only darkness. Then, a shadow moved across the stars. A shape so vast, it swallowed constellations. Gasps filled the chamber. The predator appeared. It was not like any warship the galaxy had ever seen. Its hull stretched for miles, jagged like the teeth of some ancient beast. Crimson lines glowed faintly across its surface, pulsing like veins under skin. Whole towers of weapons jutted outward, and sensor arrays lit up like burning eyes. It moved with slow, predatory grace, a beast returning from the grave. The chamber was silent. The laughter was gone. Lyra lifted her wrist again. Her voice was calm. Predator. Acknowledge me, For a long, terrible moment, nothing happened. Then the warship spoke. Its voice rumbled across every comm. Every screen, every ear, deep, mechanical, alive, acknowledged. Standing by, the delegates gasped. Some cried out in terror. Others collapsed in shock. Entire rows of alien leaders turned pale as the impossible truth filled the chamber. The predator of the galaxy's nightmare had bowed to the command of a human girl. The holoscreens flickered, showing the predator's weapons glowing, charging with power. Alarms screamed across orbit. No one knew where it would strike. Lyra's voice was steady. "Do you still think humanity is weak?" The screen cut to black. The chamber of the Galactic Council was silent. The laughter that once shook the dome was gone. Every eye, every scaled face, every glittering mandible was frozen in disbelief. Above them, the holoscreens flickered with the image of the Predator warship, so massive, so unnatural, it swallowed half the stars behind it. Its jagged armor glowed faintly crimson, its silhouette scarred from ancient battles. And yet, it had spoken. It had acknowledged the human girl. The silence broke into chaos. "This cannot be real," shouted a delegate with feathered crests. "It obeys her. It truly obeys her." Another gasped. "Destroy it now," roared Admiral Velox, his golden-scaled fists slamming into the table. "Before it destroys us." But none moved. Fear had rooted them in place. The Predator floated in orbit, its crimson veins glowing brighter with every passing second. Alien fleets scrambled around it, tiny frigates and cruisers darting like insects, weapons charged, shields raised. Yet not one dared fire. In the center of the chamber, Lyra Hale stood perfectly still. Her small human frame seemed to command the attention of giants. She raised her wrist slightly. "Predator," she said calmly, "reveal your strength." The warship answered. Crimson light rippled along its body. Entire towers of cannons unfolded, each the size of a city. Launch bays opened like the jaws of a beast, rows of fighters stirring inside. The glow from its core pulsed like a second sun. Shaking the void around it, the alien fleet scattered, terrified, its powering weapons. Shields to maximum. "It will fire on us." Panic spread through the chamber. Delegates screamed, soldiers scrambled, alarms blared, but Lyra's expression never changed. "Stand down," she whispered. The Predator froze. Its weapons folded inward again. The crimson glow dimmed to a steady pulse. Gasps filled the chamber. The warship had obeyed. For a moment, no one spoke. The alien leaders looked at one another with pale, fearful eyes. Then the shouting began again. "She commands it. This is impossible. How can humans do this? What else have they hidden from us?" Admiral Velox leaned forward, his voice sharp as a blade. "Tell us, human. How do you control it?" Lyra turned her gaze on him. Her voice was quiet, but steady. "It was built to obey my bloodline. Earth's ancestors prepared for a day you could never imagine. While you laughed at us, we prepared in silence." The words hit the chamber like thunder. "Lies," shouted the feathered delegate. "No world so small could build a beast like this," hissed the insectoid. But deep in their eyes, doubt had already turned to fear. The holoscreen shifted again. A new alarm rang out across comms. Unidentified signatures entering system edge. Not concordance fleets. Unknown configuration numbers beyond count. The council froze. Delegates leaned forward, mandibles clicking nervously, claws tightening on armrests. On the screens, the void rippled. Ships emerged from hyperspace black, jagged silhouettes covered in spines. Hundreds at first. Then thousands. Their formations were tight, their movements perfect, like a swarm of predators. Gasps filled the chamber. "They're not ours. No empire claims them. What are they?" Lyra's eyes narrowed. She whispered almost to herself, the reason it was built. The swarm advanced, darkening the stars. Alien fleets scrambled to engage, but fear filled every comm. The invaders moved with ruthless efficiency, slicing through space like blades. In the chamber, panic erupted. We must evacuate. They'll slaughter us all. Activate every fleet. Admiral Velox pointed at Lyra. Human, if that monster obeys you, then order it to fight. Prove your worth. All eyes turned to her. The girl they had mocked now held the galaxy's only hope. Lyra raised her wrist again. Her face was calm, her voice firm. Predator. Target the swarm. The warship's voice rumbled through every speaker, deep and terrible, acknowledged. Weapons online, engaging. The holoscreens zoomed in as the Predator shifted its colossal body, weapons glowing once more. Its main cannon began to charge, crimson energy building like the heart of a star. The swarm filled the sky, advancing relentlessly toward the Council world. The Predator's growl grew louder, shaking the chamber as if the beast itself hungered for the kill. The final frame, its cannon blinding with light. Ready to unleash annihilation? Cut to black. The Predator hung in orbit like a scar across the stars. Its crimson glow pulsed in silence, its massive weapons unfolding like the wings of a nightmare. Alien fleets scattered, keeping distance, afraid to provoke it. The council chamber shook as the warship's growl rolled through the air. Delegates clutched their seats, their faces pale with fear. And then its voice came again, awaiting command. The sound wasn't just noise. It vibrated in bones, heavy and alive, like a beast calling to its master. The chamber fell into silence. For the first time in centuries, the alien rulers had nothing to say. A human girl stood in the center, calm, small, alone. Lyra Hale raised her wrist. Predator, hold. The glow faded. Weapons folded back. The warship obeyed. Gasps filled the chamber. Some shouted in panic, others in disbelief. It listens to her. This cannot be real. Even our fleets would not obey so perfectly. Admiral Velox leaned forward, his golden eyes narrow with fury. How do you command it, human? Tell us. Lyra turned slowly, her dark eyes scanning the chamber. It was not built to serve you. It was built to serve us. The Predator answers only to the keepers of Earth. The words echoed like thunder. You lie, shouted a delegate with burning crests. No small world could hide such power, hissed another. But none could deny the truth. They had seen the Predator obey. Suddenly, alarms blared again. Holoscreens flickered, enemy ships breaching the outer line. Swarm, advancing faster than expected. They're targeting defense stations. The chamber filled with shouting. Alien leaders barked orders, but their voices cracked with fear. Their fleets were outnumbered 100-1. Lyra lifted her wrist again. The Predator's crimson eyes lit brighter, its weapons unfolding once more. Predator, she said quietly. Engage! The warship roared. Crimson fire lanced across the void, striking the first wave of swarm ships. Dozens vanished in a single blast, their wreckage scattering like dust. Another volley followed, tearing through enemy lines with ruthless precision. Alien delegates gasped. Watching in awe, it fights for her. One ship is holding back an entire fleet. This is impossible. But Lyra's face did not change. She watched silently as the Predator carved through the swarm. Admiral Velox slammed his fist onto the table. If humanity had this all along, why hide it? Why deceive the galaxy? Lyra turned toward him. Her voice was steady. Because you never saw us as equals. You saw us as prey. You laughed while we prepared. Humanity does not boast. Humanity survives. The chamber went still. Her words were knives, and no one could deny them. Another alarm rang out. New formation detected. They're not targeting fleets, they're heading for the Council world itself. The holoscreens zoomed in. Hundreds of swarm ships broke formation, diving toward the planet. Alien delegates shouted in terror. They'll breach the surface. Evacuate the chamber. They'll kill us all. Lyra's eyes narrowed. Predator, intercept. The warship responded instantly. Its colossal body shifted, engines flaring. It descended into low orbit, casting its shadow over the planet. Crimson fire erupted again, wiping out wave after wave of enemy ships before they could touch the surface. The chamber shook as the Predators shielded the very world that mocked humanity. The alien council could only watch in silence now. Their fleets were shattered, their soldiers dying. The Predator was the only thing standing between them and annihilation. One insectoid delegate whispered, voice trembling. The human. Saved us, another hissed. We mocked her. And now she commands the only weapon that can protect us. Velox growled low. His pride was shattered, but he could not deny the truth. His eyes met Lyra's. Perhaps humanity was never as weak as we thought. Lyra's gaze was cold. You're only beginning to understand. The holoscreens flickered again, this time showing something massive moving behind the swarm. A new silhouette, peered larger, darker. Its spines glowed with black fire. It dwarfed the fleets around it. The Predator paused, its crimson glow dimming slightly. For the first time, the beast seemed cautious. The chamber froze. What is that? A delegate whispered. Lyra's eyes narrowed. She whispered back, voice heavy with dread. The flagship. The final frame. The black giant emerging from the swarm, its maw opening, preparing a weapon vast enough to burn the planet whole. Cut to black. The holoscreens shook as the shadow of the flagship filled the void. It was not just a ship, it was a floating fortress, the size of a moon. Black spines jutted out like spears, and its surface glowed with streams of molten fire. The swarm gathered around it like wolves, circling their alpha. The delegates in the chamber froze, their eyes wide. It's alive. One whispered, no. It's a world killer, another gasped. If that thing fires, we are finished, Admiral Velox growled. Above them, the Predator loomed. For the first time, the crimson glow along its hull dimmed, as if even it understood the scale of what it faced. Lyra Hale stood in the center of the chaos, her wrist device glowing faintly. Her voice was steady. Predator. Prepare all weapons, the warship answered. Acknowledged. Primary cannons charging. The chamber erupted in alarms. Enemy flagship weapon charging. Energy spiked beyond all records. It's targeting the planet. Delegates shouted in panic. Some tried to flee, others demanded evacuation. Abandon this world. We cannot stop that thing. Not even the Predator is enough. But Lyra's gaze stayed locked on the holoscreens. She did not tremble. Predator, she said calmly. Engage, the warship roared. Crimson light surged along its spine, weapons unfolding like the claws of a beast. A single shot burst forth, pure annihilation slamming into the swarm. Dozens of enemy ships vanished instantly, torn apart by the beam. Fire spread across the void. Explosions shook the system. The chamber gasped. One shot. It erased them. This is impossible. No fleet could do that. But the swarm kept coming. For every ship destroyed, 100 more pushed forward. They filled the sky like a storm, endless and merciless. Alien fleets scrambled to fight. Velen warships fired volley after volley, their plasma bolts flashing like fireworks against the swarm's armor. Insectoid cruisers swarmed in tight formation, cutting down enemies with rapid-fire cannons. Feathered ships launched missiles in desperate waves, but the swarm was too many. Alien ships burned, one after another. Their wreckage pulled into the maw of the enemy flagship. In the chamber, panic turned to despair. Our fleets are falling. They are tearing through everything. We cannot hold them back. Only the Predator stood firm, carving through enemy lines with devastating blasts. Its crimson glow lit the stars, its roar drowning out the screams of alien commanders. Lyra's voice cut through the storm. Predator. Target the flagship. The warship's lights brightened. Its main cannon rotated, aligning with the massive fortress. Energy built, brighter and brighter. Shaking the void itself, the delegates held their breath. The Predator fired. A crimson beam lanced forward, striking the flagship's armor with fury. The chamber shook as if the planet itself quaked. The delegates gasped in until the smoke cleared. The flagship still stood. Its black spines glowed brighter, its molten surface knitting together. The wound closed. The monster was healing. The chamber erupted in horror. It survived. That shot would have destroyed a fleet. Nothing can stop it. Admiral Velox's voice was low and grim. If even the Predator cannot destroy it, then we are already dead. Lyra's eyes narrowed. Her voice was steady. No, this was only the beginning. The swarm pressed closer, their ships overwhelming the alien fleets. Explosions dotted the skies like dying stars. The flagship's maw glowed with black fire, charging its weapon. Energy spike increasing. It's going to fire on the planet. We must evacuate now. The delegates screamed. Panic filled the chamber, but Lyra raised her hand, silencing them. Humanity does not run. Her wrist glowed brighter. She whispered the words only a keeper could speak. Predator. Show them your true power. The warship's voice deepened, rumbling like thunder. Secondary systems unlocked. Engaging Predator-class protocol. The Predator shifted. Hidden weapons unfolded, massive wings of steel spreading from its sides. Entire sections of its hull opened, revealing rows of devastating cannons that no one had seen before. The delegates froze, their fear mixing with awe. This is not just a warship. It's a god of war. The holoscreen zoomed in on the flagship. Its weapon reached critical charge, a storm of black fire gathering at its core, ready to burn the world below at the same time. The Predator glowed brighter than ever. Crimson wings of death spread wide. Weapons locking on target, the final frame. Two titans preparing to unleash their fury. The fate of the galaxy hanging in the balance, cut to black. The stars burned red with fire. Alien fleets fell one after another, their wreckage drifting through space. The swarm was endless thousands of jagged ships tearing through every defense line. But above them all, casting a shadow across the system, loomed the flagship. It was no simple warship. It was a floating fortress, the size of a small moon. Black spines jutted out like the bones of a beast. Lava-like rivers glowed across its surface, pulsing brighter with every moment. Its maw gaped wide, drawing in wreckage and shattered hulls as if it fed on destruction. The Predator, humanity's warship, faced it alone. Its crimson glow flared, its cannons charged, but the flagship did not flinch. In the council chamber, alarms screamed. Flagship energy spike rising. It's charging a superweapon. If it fires, the planet is gone. The delegates shouted in fear. Evacuate the council. We cannot stop this monster. Even the Predator cannot win. But Lyra Hale stood still. Her wrist device glowed faintly. Her voice was calm, even as the world shook around her. Predator. Fire. The warship obeyed. A blast of crimson energy shot forth, brighter than a sun. It slammed into the flagship, splitting its armor, tearing entire spines from its body. For a moment, the galaxy seemed to tremble in awe. The delegates gasped. It's working. The Predator can destroy it. But then the flagship roared. A sound deep and terrible shook the void. Its surface glowed hotter, brighter. The cracks in its armor sealed. The molten rivers burned more fiercely. The wound was gone. The chamber filled with horror. It healed. That shot could have destroyed a fleet. It cannot be killed. The flagship opened its maw wider. Black fire spiraled within, gathering into a storm of annihilation. Alien fleets scrambled desperately. Admirals barked orders, their ships moving to intercept, but they were shredded before they could reach the monster. Every second brought the weapon closer to firing. Admiral Velox slammed his clawed fist into the table, his golden scales trembling. Human, your beast cannot destroy it. What else have you hidden from us? Lyra's eyes narrowed. Her voice carried over the chaos. The Predator was only the first. Humanity always planned for more. The chamber froze. What do you mean? Hissed the insectoid delegate. You have more of these monsters? Gasped the feathered leader. Lyra spoke slowly, each word heavy. Earth never trusted the galaxy to protect us. While you mocked us, we built a doctrine, a hidden fleet. Predators were never meant to be alone. The delegates erupted. Impossible. No species could build more than one. You humans were supposed to be weak. But the holoscreens flickered. A faint signal appeared massive. Buried deep beyond the system's edge, a second shadow moved through the void. The delegates gasped in disbelief as another warship emerged from hyperspace. It was as vast as the Predator, but its glow was golden, its armor jagged and shining with scars. It drifted forward like a god awakened from sleep. Lyra's wrist pulsed. The second warship's deep voice rumbled across every come. Acknowledged, awaiting Keeper's command. The chamber exploded in shouts of fear and awe. There are two. She wasn't lying. How many more exist? Admiral Velox's eyes narrowed. For once, there was no mockery in his voice. Only fear. Humanity. You deceived us all. Lyra turned her gaze to the holoscreen, where the flagship's weapon glowed brighter, ready to fire. Her voice was calm, but sharp as steel. Not deceived, protected. Humanity hid its claws until the day they were needed. That day is now. The holoscreens blazed with light. The flagship's maw opened fully, black fire swirling. Ready to erase the Council world at the same time. The Predator and its golden sibling aligned side by side, their cannons glowing, their engines roaring like thunder. The chamber shook as two titans prepared to strike. The final frame? Three giants facing one another, the swarm's fortress, and humanity's twin. Predator seconds away from a clash that would decide the fate of the stars. Cut to black. The void burned red and gold. Two titans stood side by side, the Predator with its crimson glow and its golden sibling, newly awakened from the dark. Together, they faced the swarm's flagship, fortress the size of a moon, its maw swirling with black fire. In the council chamber, the delegates were silent. For the first time in centuries, rulers of empires sat frozen, their arrogance stripped away. They had mocked humanity as prey. Now they watched humanity's hidden monsters prepare for war. Alarms screamed through the chamber. Flagship charging primary weapon. Energy levels rising beyond calculation. It will fire in less than 5 minutes. The delegates erupted in panic. Evacuate the planet. Our fleets cannot hold them. Nothing survives a shot like that. Admiral Velox slammed his clawed fist into the table. His golden eyes burned with fury and fear. Human, you said there are more. Tell us the truth. How many predators does Earth command? Lyra Hale stood in the center, her wrist device glowing faintly. Her voice was calm, but it carried like steel. Humanity never trusted the galaxy to keep us safe. While you mocked us, we prepared in silence. The Predator was not the only one. It was the first. Gasps echoed through the chamber. You built an entire fleet of these? One delegate hissed. Lies. No world so small could achieve this, shouted another. Lyra's gaze was steady. We hid them where none of you would ever look. Buried in forgotten systems. Sleeping in shadows. Waiting for this day. The silence that followed was heavy. For the first time, the galaxy's most powerful rulers understood they had never truly known humanity. The holoscreens flickered, showing the battle above. Alien fleets fought desperately, but the swarm cut through them like blades through cloth. Whole armadas were torn apart, their wreckage feeding the enemy fortress. The Predator roared, unleashing crimson fire, vaporizing swaths of swarm ships. The golden sibling followed, its beam burning like a second sun. Together, they carved through the darkness, but the swarm never ended. For every enemy destroyed, 100 more replaced it. The delegates clung to hope, their eyes locked on the two titans. Perhaps, together, they can win. No fleet could withstand such power. Maybe this is salvation. But then the flagship fired. Black fire erupted from its maw, a storm of annihilation. The beam cut across space, tearing through alien fleets like paper, burning entire ships to ash. Even the Predator staggered, its shields flaring, its hull trembling. The golden sibling groaned, its glow dimming under the blast. The chamber shook violently. Delegates screamed in terror. It's too strong. Not even Predators can stop it. This is the end. But Lyra stood tall, her voice cutting through the fear. No, this is why we were chosen. She raised her wrist, her eyes blazing with quiet fire. Predators activate doctrine sequence. The warships responded in unison, their deep voices shaking the chamber. Acknowledged. Doctrine unlocked. Predator-class fleet protocol engaged. The two Titans shifted. Entire sections of their hulls opened, revealing weapons the galaxy had never seen. Dozens of secondary cannons unfolded. Missile silos glowed with blue fire. Swarms of drones poured from hidden bays, their tiny lights filling the void like stars. The delegates gasped. They were holding back. This isn't just a ship sits an entire fleet in themselves. Humanity built gods of war. The swarm faltered for the first time. Enemy formations broke as drones tore through their ranks. Crimson and golden beams slashed across the void, carving burning scars into the darkness. The flagship itself groaned, its molten surface cracking under the assault. Admiral Velox's jaw clenched. His pride was gone, his fury turned to awe. Your people. They deceived us for centuries, and yet they may have just saved us all. Lyra's eyes did not leave the screens. Her voice was sharp as a blade. We did not build these to save you. We built them to save humanity. Whether you survive with us is your choice. The delegates fell into silence. For the first time, they bowed their heads not to each other, but to a human girl. The holoscreens blazed with light. The flagship's molten surface split apart, revealing a black core pulsing with unimaginable energy. It was not dying, it was transforming. The Predator and its golden sibling roared. Weapons surging brighter, but the enemy fortress spread its spines wide, preparing something greater than before. The chamber shook as the alarm screamed. Unknown energy buildup. Flagship transformation in progress. Power levels rising beyond calculation. Lyra's eyes narrowed. Her voice was steady, but grim. This battle isn't over. It's only beginning. Cut to black in the council chamber. Alarms screamed. Flagship transformation complete. Energy levels off the scale. It's preparing a system killer shot. Delegates shouted over each other. It will burn the world. We must flee now. No defense can withstand this. Admiral Velox's voice was sharp, cutting through the panic. If the Predators fall, none of us will survive. Human, command your beasts. All eyes turned to Lyra Hale. She stood calm in the storm, her wrist glowing faintly. Her voice was low, but every syllable carried weight. Predator. Golden Brother align. The two warships responded as one. Their cannons turned toward the fortress. Their wings of steel unfolded wide. Their roars filled the void like thunder. The flagship opened its maw. Black fire spiraled within, building into a storm so vast it bent the stars around it. Entire fleets scattered, desperate to avoid the blast. The Predator and its sibling glowed brighter, charging their beams. Crimson and gold fire pulsed, brighter and brighter, until the void looked like dawn. The chamber shook violently. Delegates clutched their seats, their faces pale. They'll tear the system apart. This isn't where it's the end of everything. But Lyra whispered, steady and sharp, fire. The Titans struck. Twin beams of crimson and gold shot forward, slamming into the fortress's black core. At the same moment, the flagship unleashed its storm. Black fire met crimson and gold. The collision lit the galaxy. The void became white. The shockwave tore through space, ripping enemy ships apart, hurling debris for light years. Alien fleets broke formation, tumbling like leaves in a storm. Planets trembled in their orbits. In the council chamber, screams filled the dome. The crystal walls cracked. Holoscreens flickered under the sheer force of the clash. shields collapsing. We cannot withstand this. Power levels breaking every record. On the screens, the beams fought like gods, locked in struggle. Crimson and gold pressed forward, burning through the black storm. The fortress roared, spines shattering, molten rivers splitting open. But it did not fall. Instead, it pushed back. The black storm grew stronger, forcing the Predator and its sibling to the edge. Their hulls glowed white-hot. Their drones disintegrated in waves. Their shields shattered piece by piece. The delegates cried out in despair. They're losing. Not even two Predators can win. The fortress cannot be destroyed. Admiral Velox's golden eyes narrowed. He whispered not in mockery, but in awe. How much strength does humanity still hide? Lyra's voice cut through the chaos. Calm, sharp, commanding. Predator, initiate final strike. Protocol Omega. The chamber froze. The Predator's deep voice rumbled, acknowledged. Omega strike requires collision course. Delegates erupted. Collision course. You'll destroy it in yourselves. This is madness. But Lyra's eyes did not waver. It must be done. The Predator turned, its engines flaring bright crimson. It accelerated, faster and faster, heading straight for the fortress. The golden sibling followed close, its cannons covering the charge. The chamber shook as the delegates realized what they were seeing. The humans had built weapons that did not fear death. The swarm rallied, throwing every ship in their path. Thousands of enemies hurled themselves against the charging titans, but they were crushed, burned, torn apart by waves of fire. The fortress's roar shook the system as it tried to finish its weapon before the impact. Lyra raised her wrist one final time. Her voice was steel. Predator, strike true. The final frame showed the Predator at full speed, its hull glowing like a burning star, aimed directly at the fortress's black core. The golden sibling roared beside it. Unleashing every weapon it had, the flagship's maw glowed with annihilation, ready to fire. 3 titans. Locked in a final collision, the screen cut to black, the void burned with fire. The Predator charged forward, its crimson engines blazing. Beside it, its golden sibling roared with light, unleashing every weapon it possessed. Ahead of them loomed the flagship, its black maw glowing with annihilation, spines pulsing with power. In the council chamber, the delegates clung to their seats as the screens shook violently. The clash of titans lit the galaxy brighter than any sun. It's going to fire. The Predator will collide. This will destroy everything. Lyra Hale stood calm in the center. Her hand hovered over her wrist device, her eyes locked on the screen. Her voice was quiet, but every alien heard it. This is why we built them. The Predator struck first. Its colossal body slammed into the fortress's surface. Tearing through molten armor, ripping spines apart, shockwaves ripped across the void, scattering swarm ships like debris in a storm. The golden sibling followed, blasting the fortress with a golden beam that split its defenses. For a heartbeat, victory seemed possible. The chamber erupted in hope. They've breached it. The fortress is cracking. Humanity's monsters can win. But then the flagship roared. Its black core pulsed with terrible light. The maw erupted, unleashing a storm of annihilation that engulfed the Predator. The chamber screamed. It's gone. The Predator is destroyed. Nothing could survive that. Smoke filled the void. For long seconds, there was no sign of humanity's warship. Then the glow returned. The Predator emerged from the fire. Scarred and broken, its hull torn open but alive. Its crimson eyes still burned. Its engines still flared. It refused to die. The delegates gasped in awe. It lives. Impossible. It refuses to fall. The golden sibling roared beside it, drones swarming from its bays, tearing through the enemy ships. Together, the 2 titans pressed the attack, firing into the fortress's core, blasting cracks across its black surface. The swarm faltered. Their formations broke. Their endless tide scattered. The chamber filled with voices of disbelief. They're retreating. The swarm is falling back. Humanity. Humanity is saving us all. Admiral Velox, who once mocked her, turned to Lyra. His voice was low, shaken. "Human, your people have changed the galaxy." Lyra's eyes stayed on the screen. "No. Humanity has only reminded we were never prey." The fortress shook violently. Its black core cracked wide, spewing fire and shadow. The swarm ships screamed as their leader faltered. The Predator and its golden sibling prepared their final strike. Their cannons glowed, their lights blazing brighter than the stars. Lyra raised her wrist. Her voice was calm, sharp as a blade. "Predators, fire together." Twin beams shot forward, crimson and gold converging. They pierced the fortress's heart, burning through its core. The flagship roared one final time before it split apart, its body shattering into a storm of fire and shadow. The swarm scattered, broken, fleeing into the dark. Silence filled the chamber. The galaxy's greatest nightmare had fallen. The delegates stared at the human girl in the center. The same girl they had mocked, laughed at, dismissed as weak. Now every eye looked at her with awe. With fear, with respect, Admiral Velox lowered his head. The galaxy owes its survival to humanity. One by one, the other delegates bowed as well. The council chamber that once rang with laughter now bowed to a human. Lyra stood tall, her voice steady. "Remember this moment. When the swarm came, it was not your empires that saved you. It was humanity. From this day forward, you will not mock us again. You will follow where we lead." The chamber was silent. No one dared argue. On the screens, debris floated where the fortress once stood. The swarm had fled. The Predator and its golden sibling drifted, scarred but alive, but deep in the void, a signal pulsed, a faint, ominous rhythm. Lyra's eyes narrowed. She whispered words only the audience could hear. "The third Predator still sleeps, and the enemy is not finished." The last frame, her face lit by crimson glow. As the council world bowed in silence to humanity's command, cut to black.